the Kitchen with Lisa, and today we're going to be making our a nice lasagna dish, only instead of with noodles, we're going to try it with cabbage. The thing that I like to do is anytime I make this dish is I start with onions that were grown in our garden. First of all, you want to cut off the ends, and you want to make sure that you have peeled off the skins. Now, the trick of what do I do with all of this food waste? Food waste is a common problem, and so what I like to do is I like to keep all of my scraps in a bag and I freeze them. And when the bag gets full, then I can put them in a big pot and I can make my own vegetable stock. Just a quick little tip for you. These onions are pretty strong. I like to start by cutting them in half. And then I use the onion to work for me. So I just cut it on the top. And then I just dice it. This doesn't have to be fine diced. It just has to be cut into small squares. And that way they will cook up in the olive oil. So once I get that done, I'm going to make sure that you use a really good sharp knife. This knife is made by Ginsu. And then you take it and you put it in your skillet. And I'm using this great big quart, 5-quart Dutch oven pan so that it can be the base for my sauce. One of my other favorite herbs to use or seasonings is garlic. Go ahead and take your garlic, get a good bulb or two, and peel out the cloves. I'm going to use 5 in this dish. And remember, you can substitute anything you like. I don't save these skins. And I like to clean up my mess so I don't get that stuff in the dish. When I do cloves of garlic, I just pound out each one individually. So 5 nice jabs. Whoops, lost one. Back here. Okay. Can you get it? Got it. And then I just peel out that hard outer shell. These should come out fairly easy. And you can buy these already peeled for you, or you can even buy them already diced up and ready to go in a jar. Choice is yours, whatever you want to do. And remember, the amount that you add is entirely up to you. Big fan of garlic. Trying to get some every day. And so then you just chop it up. Just a nice rough chop a couple of times. So. And if you have any skins in there, you just sort of take them out. Alright. So, that almost ready to go. I do have some water going just for our cabbage. We're going to blanch it for 5 minutes. And those are going to be our substitute for the noodles. So once I have that, put that back on. I'm going to pop that in the pan. Take the stuff over to the sink. I'm going to wash my hands. And I'm going to find my towel. I'm going to go ahead and get the heat on going underneath that. And then I'm going to use some extra virgin olive oil. Drizzle some in there. I'm going to give that a nice stir. Get that all mixed up and get it in the pot. It looks like my water is boiling, so I'm going to go ahead and put in the cabbage leaves. And we're just going to do a quick blanch for 5 or 7 minutes, just till they get a little bit of a softness going on them. And these are going to be in substitution of your pasta noodles. So this lasagna is going to be a low carb choice for anybody who is on that kind of diet. And remember, you can always add back in the noodles if you want. All right, and as we check back in on our onions and garlic, they're starting to smell really good. The olive oil and all that good onion and garlic flavor is really coming together. And we'll give those a couple more minutes. All right, a couple of minutes has gone by, and now we are going to add in our ground beef, just basic ground beef. We source ours from a local farmer here in Indiana. So basically this cow grew up right down the road. We had her processed in May. And so now we have a freezer full of meat, and we can use that to make all kinds of dishes. And tonight's dish, we're using the ground beef. A couple of spices or seasonings that I like to add is some pink Himalayan salt, a couple of rotations there, and some freshly ground peppers. And remember, it's just as much as you like and whatever your preference is. So you want to check on your ground beef, and remember you can always use ground turkey or bison or even ground chicken if you like, or you can make this meatless, and it's just as delicious. So again, you can interchange the ingredients. I'm just kind of sharing with you my recipe and how my family likes to have it. Okay, as I check on the cabbage leaves, they're getting nice and tender in their hot water bath. It's been about 5-6 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and take those out of this and strain them in the sink and get all that excess water off of them. Okay, I'm back from pouring out all the water and straining the cabbage leaves. I've given a couple of shakes in the sink. I'm just going to let them sit here. They're on a plate, so any excess water will drip out on that plate. And when I'm ready to start making my lasagna layers, I'll have them ready to go. Okay, something I like to add to the ground beef and onions and garlic while they're still cooking is I like to add about a tablespoon of Italian seasonings. And this is just a nice blend because I'm going to add my own tomato sauce to this. So not canned and not jarred. And now for a really exciting moment. Over the summer, my husband and I, we grew a garden, and I had about 30 tomato plants. So we processed hundreds of tomatoes this past fall, and didn't can them, didn't dehydrate them, so we decided just to put them up in, make our own tomato sauce and put them in Ziploc baggies. This year we had about 30 quarts, and so I'm going to use this as my pasta sauce. And it's so good, so tomatoey. Okay, so now that I've got all that tomato sauce and onion and garlic and ground beef all in there together, I'm gonna leave this on the stove to simmer for about half hour. Okay, we've let the sauce kind of marinate together for the last half hour. It's looking really good. So now you got a nice meat sauce to go with your cabbage leaves. And the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna mix up all that good cheesy filling. Right, so to mix up the cheesy filling, you're going to need to get one of those bricks of mozzarella, I think probably like an 8-ounce brick, and you're gonna wanna grate it yourself. Grate your own cheese all the time. It's so good and delicious. I'm gonna put this in the sink. And then the next thing I have is a 8-ounce thing of ricotta cheese. I'm gonna add that in. And then I had some Parmesan. I bought this one already shredded. I'm gonna put about half of that in because I'm gonna leave the rest for the top. So you just take your spoon and you wanna give that a good mix. It all comes together so nicely. The best part of the lasagna for me. It's the cheesy cheesy goodness. Now that we have all of our main ingredients, we've got our meat sauce, we've got our cheese spread, and we've also got our cabbage leaves to make this. I am going to introduce a jar of pasta sauce. This is just a regular pasta sauce with meat. And I'm gonna go ahead and coat the bottom of my pan, just a little bit, okay? And then we're gonna start the layering process. So the first thing that I'm gonna lay down are some of these cabbage leaves, just to cover the bottom. And that spaghetti sauce will, pasta sauce will help it from sticking. So we've got a nice base here for cabbage lasagna, low carb, and packed full of vegetables. And then the next thing we're gonna add is the meat sauce. So you just put some right here in the middle. And then you spread that out over your cabbage leaves, like so. This back here behind it. And then you're going to give this one last stir. And again, put some down in the middle of your pan. And then you just sort of spread it out like so. Just kind of like dollop it. And then we're going to put our next layer of cabbage leaves. And our oven is being preheated to 400, and it's been on since I started cooking. And then I'm going to take your meat sauce, put that on, so, and then you can spread it around. So you're just building layer after layer. We're done with that. And then the next thing is you just want to do your plops of the ricotta, the mozzarella, and the Parmesan. Because that'll all get all nice and gooey and warm, and it'll spread out. Okay, and now for the topping, I'm gonna add the rest of my jar sauce, just like so. And I have some mozzarella cheese that I'm just gonna put over generously over the whole top, like so. And that'll give it a nice cheesy crust when it comes out of the oven. And then the last thing is I'm going to take the Parmesan that I had, and I'm going to sprinkle over the top with that mozzarella, like so. There we go. And then I'm going to pop this in the oven for about 45 minutes to an hour, and we'll come back when the finished product is all ready. Hey, welcome back. So while the lasagna is cooking in the oven, I'm going to be doing all the cleanup. This is sort of behind the scenes. Don't have a dishwasher. We wash dishes by hand here, and we just dry them on these nice drying mats, and then we dry them and put them away, or sometimes we leave them out overnight and put them away in the morning while we're making our coffee. Okay, welcome back. So right before I take the lasagna out of the oven, I've got my plates, and they've been stored in the cabinet for a really long time. They're really cold for some reason. So I always like to warm my plates up just a little bit. I'm gonna stick those in the oven for a few. And then when we're ready to take out the lasagna, I'll take out the plates and they'll cool down just a little bit, but at least you have a nice warm plate instead of sticking it on a cold plate. All right, we're gonna check on our lasagna. We're gonna make sure that it's done. Lasagna. There it is, it's all cheesy and bubbly and looking really good. I'm gonna set this over on the stove. Gonna take out our plates. Should be nice and warmed up. And just like in the summertime, I always like to chill my plates in the freezer when I'm serving a nice fresh green salad, especially with the fresh produce out of the garden. So I'm just gonna set these along with the lasagna. Let the lasagna set for about 15 minutes so it all congeals back together again so you don't have a soupy mess on your plate. But these are the plates that I'm gonna be using today. They come from my Fiesta Ware collection. They're just so colorful and I really enjoy using them all the time. So we'll see you in a few minutes. All right, now that we have our lasagna out of the oven, you see that it looks like this, all good and cheesy on top. Got my Fiesta Ware plate ready to be plated, and here we go. So this is gonna be really, really good. And the best part of it is that we get to have leftovers, which are always the best. So put this on plate number 1. Doesn't that look yummy? It's all nice and steamy and still so good. I want a smaller piece. And that's piece number 2. So there you go. We've got our cabbage lasagna, low carb, low calorie, all the good stuff that you need and very filling. And this has been Watch Lisa Cook.